The sun shone brightly on a perfect Saturday afternoon, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves in Willow Creek Park. 7-year-old Emma, with her bright blue eyes and a scattering of freckles across her nose, giggled as her golden retriever puppy, Buddy, chased a brightly colored butterfly. Buddy was a fluffy ball of sunshine, his tail a constant blur of happiness, and his barks tiny explosions of joy. Today was a special day, a family picnic, complete with sandwiches, fruit, and Emma's favorite lemonade. "Careful, Buddy," Emma called, but her warning was lost in the excitement. Buddy, still very much a puppy, was easily distracted. He loved to explore, his nose always sniffing out new adventures, and his boundless energy made him a challenging companion sometimes. Emma's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Davis, were setting out the picnic blanket and basket under a large oak tree. "Don't let him wander too far, sweetie," Mrs. Davis reminded Emma, not for the first time. Emma, caught up in the magic of the moment, simply grinned and promised, "I won't, Mom." She threw a small, squeaky ball for Buddy, and he bounded after it, his floppy ears flying. The park was bustling with families, children laughing, and the distant shouts of a soccer game. It was a symphony of happy sounds, and Emma felt like her heart was as full as the picnic basket. They ate their sandwiches, Buddy playfully nudging Emma's hand for scraps, his big brown eyes full of pleading. Emma, of course, snuck him a tiny piece of her turkey. "Just a little bit, you silly pup," she whispered, scratching him behind the ears, which made his leg thump uncontrollably. After lunch, Emma wanted to play fetch again. She picked up Buddy's favorite red ball, but when she turned to toss it, Buddy was nowhere in sight. Her smile faltered. "Buddy?" she called, her voice a little unsure. She looked behind the oak tree, then towards the swings where some children were playing. Nothing. A prickle of worry, tiny at first, began to spread through Emma's chest. "Mom? Dad? Have you seen Buddy?" Her voice was higher now, a little strained. Mr. Davis looked up from his book. "He was just here, honey, probably sniffing around the bushes." But Emma knew Buddy. He usually stayed close, especially when there was a chance of another treat. She walked a little further, calling his name louder. "Buddy! Here, boy!" Her heart started to beat a bit faster, a drum of growing anxiety. The happy sounds of the park suddenly seemed to fade, replaced by a growing silence in her ears. Mrs. Davis, noticing the shift in Emma's demeanor, joined her. "Don't worry, darling, he can't have gone far." But even as she spoke, her eyes scanned the park with a new intensity. They searched together, calling his name, walking wider circles around their picnic spot. Emma's happy afternoon had turned into a scary hunt. The sun still shone, but it felt colder now. Every shadow seemed to hide a trick. Every rustle of leaves sounded like Buddy, but it was never Buddy. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 20 minutes, Mr. Davis said, his voice serious, "He's not in the immediate area. We need to expand our search." That's when the real worry set in. Emma's eyes welled up with tears. Buddy was her best friend, her furry shadow, her confidant. The thought of him being lost, all alone, made a knot form in her stomach. "What if he's scared, Dad? What if he's hurt?" Mrs. Davis knelt beside Emma, pulling her into a comforting hug. "We're going to find him, sweetie. We won't stop until we do." They spent the rest of the afternoon crisscrossing the park, calling Buddy's name until their throats were sore. They asked other families if they had seen a playful golden retriever puppy. No one had. Emma's hope, once a bright flame, flickered with every unanswered call. As the sun began to dip lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, a cold dread settled over Emma. They had to leave the park. They drove slowly through the surrounding neighborhood, Emma's face pressed against the car window, her eyes darting from yard to yard. "Buddy!" she yelled out the window, her voice cracking. Back home, the house felt empty without Buddy's cheerful barks and the tap-tap-tap of his paws on the wooden floor. Emma didn't want to eat dinner. All she could think about was her lost puppy. After dinner, Mr. and Mrs. Davis helped Emma make lost dog flyers. Emma carefully drew a picture of Buddy, a big smile on his face, and wrote in her neatest handwriting, "Lost puppy, Buddy, golden retriever, loves to play, please help." She added their phone number, her little heart aching with every stroke of the crayon. The next morning, Emma woke up with a heavy heart. The first thing she did was check Buddy's bed. It was empty. The sadness washed over her again, fresh and sharp. After a quick breakfast, the family set out, armed with a stack of flyers and a determined spirit. They walked through their neighborhood, tacking flyers to lampposts and telephone poles. Emma, feeling a surge of responsibility, politely asked every neighbor she saw, "Excuse me, have you seen my puppy, Buddy? He's a golden retriever." Most people were kind, offering words of encouragement, but no one had seen him. Emma looked under porches, peered into bushes, and even checked the small spaces between houses. Her legs ached, her voice was hoarse, but she refused to give up. Every no from a neighbor, every empty space she checked made her stomach clench, but her determination burned brighter. She imagined Buddy, scared and alone, and that thought gave her strength. Around lunchtime, with no new leads, they decided to recheck the park, especially the areas near the creek that bordered the neighborhood. "Sometimes dogs follow the water," Mr. Davis explained, though his voice sounded tired. As they approached the creek, a small, murky stream that wound its way through a wooded section of the park, Emma felt a flicker of hope. She noticed a series of large concrete drainage tunnels running under a small bridge that crossed the creek. They were dark and a little spooky. "Buddy?" Emma called, her voice echoing faintly. She started to walk closer, her parents following a few paces behind. As she neared the entrance of one of the smaller tunnels, a faint whimper reached her ears. It was so soft she almost missed it. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her heart leaping. "Hear what, honey?" Mrs. Davis asked, her brow furrowed. Emma strained her ears, holding her breath. There it was again, a tiny, scared whine. "Buddy!" Emma screamed, her voice suddenly full of renewed energy. She practically ran to the tunnel entrance, peering into the gloom. And there, huddled in the darkness, looking small and terrified, was Buddy. His golden fur was a little muddy, and he trembled slightly, but he was alive. "Oh, Buddy!" Emma cried, her voice choked with relief and joy. She dropped to her knees, reaching out her hand. Buddy, seeing her, let out a joyful yip and scampered out of the tunnel, practically launching himself into Emma's arms. Emma hugged him tight, burying her face in his soft fur, tears of happiness streaming down her cheeks. Buddy licked her face frantically, his tail wagging so hard his whole body wiggled. Mr. and Mrs. Davis rushed over, relief washing over their faces. "Oh, my sweet boy," Mrs. Davis exclaimed, stroking Buddy's head. "You gave us quite a scare, fella," Mr. Davis said, a warm smile spreading across his face. Emma held Buddy close, feeling the warmth of his body against hers, listening to the thrum of his happy purrs. The knot in her stomach unwound, replaced by an overwhelming feeling of love and gratitude. On the way home, Buddy sat on Emma's lap, occasionally letting out a contented sigh. Emma couldn't stop petting him. "I'm so sorry, Buddy," she whispered. "I should have kept a better eye on you." Mr. Davis looked at Emma in the rearview mirror. "You know, Emma, this was a good lesson for us all. Even though Buddy loves to explore, it's our job to keep him safe, and that means keeping him on a leash, especially in busy places like the park." Emma nodded, understanding dawning in her blue eyes. "I promise, Dad. From now on, Buddy will always be on his leash when we're out. I never want him to get lost again." Mrs. Davis smiled. "It shows how much you love him, sweetheart. You never gave up, and that's what truly matters." That evening, after a good bath and a hearty dinner, Buddy curled up at the foot of Emma's bed, a contented golden lump. Emma lay in bed, watching his gentle breathing, her heart full. She knew she had learned an important lesson about responsibility